Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Webinar Wednesday with the Plus team. Today, our topic is with environmental health, and they are talking about HCORE and health sanitation. But before we get started with our topic, we would like to do a quick technical orientation to make sure that everyone can participate fully in today's session. So the webinar has started, so hopefully everyone can hear me just fine. If you're having any issues with your audio, please check your internet connection, and you can always sign out and sign in again to refresh your connection. You will have noticed that when you entered the webinar today, you were automatically muted. What we'll be doing instead is using our questions and comments through the chat. So you might be wondering where that is located. If you are joining from a computer, you will see the GoToWebinar control panel that is pictured on the left. And near the bottom of that control panel, there is a section that says questions. So you can type your questions and comments in here and send them our way. If you are joining from a mobile device, you are using the GoToWebinar app, and that has a question mark icon that you can click to open a text box and send us questions and comments that way. Now, I do like to mention that these questions and comments are private, meaning only myself and the presenter from Environmental Health will be able to see those questions and comments coming in. So we will monitor those throughout the session, but we will wait to respond until the very end where we have a few minutes set aside to address those questions. Now, this is also a good place to mention that we have a handout for today's session, and it looks something like this. You can actually access this directly through your GoToWebinar software today. So if you're joining from the computer, that's going to be pictured right above where the questions are. You should see the handout attachment there. And if you're joining from the app, there is an icon that looks like a piece of paper, and you can click that icon to access and download the handout. Now, if you're having any issues accessing the handout, not to worry. We will be sending an email when this webinar has completed today with the attachment and any links that are mentioned during the session. So that concludes our technical orientation, and we're now ready to get started with our topic. So I'm going to pass the controls over to Samuel Gaber from Environmental Health. He is going to be leading the rest of this presentation today. Samuel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rachel. I do appreciate this opportunity to be able to speak to everyone today. And I do thank our audience members for joining us for this discussion. So today's session will cover understanding what an HCORE Health Sanitation Inspection is. We'll go through the application process. We'll go through how to schedule your inspection. And lastly, how to be able to obtain your report. Now, first, we'll begin by understanding what an HCORE and Health Sanitation Inspection is. Fairfax County Health Department provides health sanitation inspections, which are known as core inspections, when facilities are required to obtain an environmental sanitation inspection. These facilities include childcare facilities, which are daycares, juvenile justice centers, mental health and substance abuse services, and home-based assisted living facilities. The applications for the permits for these inspections must be submitted on an annual basis, and the permits must be obtained prior to operating. Now, we'll begin by looking at the application process for submitting an application for an HCORE and Health Sanitation Inspection Permit. The application process begins by having customers submit the application, paying the necessary fees, issuing the permit, having the customer schedule an inspection, and then passing the inspection, and then closing the record off for that term in which the application for the permit was submitted. To first begin submitting an application for a permit, you'll have to begin by logging into the account in the Citizen portal. Anyone that is a registered user can log in with their email and password designated for their Citizen Portal account. Otherwise, if you're a new user, you may need to register using a free Citizen Access account to be able to begin the process. Once you're logged in, you will select the Environmental Health tab and then select Create an Application. After selecting the Create an Application, you'll be then moved to the disclosure terms, which must be acknowledged upon acceptance before being able to continue the application. You'll then click on EH Additional Records drop-down arrow to expand the choices, and then select Core Health Sanitation Inspection, and then you'll continue the application. You'll then be asked to be able to provide an address where you'd enter the street number and the first word of the street name to be able to then search for the location in which the organization or the facility is located. The remaining address details and the parcel ID number will autofill, and as well, if there's anything else, you can then click Continue Application to proceed forward. Now, when entering the required facility contacts, you can do this in one of two ways. You can be able to select from the account that you've logged into, or you can add contact information as a new information that will be added of someone different that isn't listed with the associated account as someone that is logged in with the user credentials. After you've entered that information in, you can continue the application. You'll then be requested to enter the required facility contacts. If you do click Add New, you'd be required to enter either the individual or organization's name, the first and last name, the primary phone number, the email, the mailing address, and the additional contact address to input a mailing address. You'll then be asked to add any additional contacts using the same steps as listed above, or by skipping and clicking Continue Application. At this point, you'll then be asked to enter the facility information, which is the name, the type, and the license capacity number of the facility. When done, you'll click Continue Application as well. You'll then enter the facility information that includes the designation from the Department of Social Services for these types of permit. Now, these designations are broken down into two types, being adult or child. If you're clicking on the child facility section, you'll notice that there's a couple specific sections of the facility that could be listed. Here, those are certified preschool or nursery school program, independent foster home, licensed child daycare center, religiously exempt child care center, and residential facility for children. Now, if you're choosing the core type that is the adult facility, the options will include adult daycare center, assisted living facility, and family day home. If the facility is served by a well, we do ask any operator to please provide the most recent water sample results as an attachment. If not, and the facility is connected to public water and public sewer, we'd ask that you leave this section blank and continue the application. We'd ask that you also review all the information that you've entered and click to edit anything that requires any changes before submitting the application and continuing the application. Once you've submitted your application, a confirmation message will populate and a record number beginning with HCORE will generate, and an email notification will be sent to the facility contact for further notification. We now move on to being able to schedule HCORE and Health Sanitation Inspection. To be able to schedule the inspection, this capability will be available after a permit is issued, and operators can schedule in plus using their Citizen Portal account once they log in. After scheduling the inspection and having the inspection take place, to be able to obtain an environmental sanitation report, this will either be provided through email at the conclusion of the inspection and submission of the completed report. Operators can also obtain copies of the report when logging into their profiles in Plus as well. We've now gone through the process of being able to submit an application for an HCORE and Health Sanitation Permit, being able to schedule your inspection, and being able to obtain your inspection report. At this time, we'll open the floor to any questions that anyone may have. Rachel, I'll let you connect in back with this part.
Okay, thank you, Samuel. So I do not see any questions coming in right now. So just as people take in all the information that you shared, if you have a minute and you want to share any questions, you have Samuel here who can answer any of those specific questions you may have. And those questions are located at the bottom of your control panel or the question mark on your app. Samuel, can you think of anything else that, like common questions you get or anything like that that you might want to address while we have an audience here?
Yes, actually, I can. In some of these cases where people are applying for HCORE and health sanitation permits, depending on the facility type, if it's a daycare or a juvenile justice center or a center run by a municipality, in some cases they may provide food, and that may require also applying for a food permit as well. Depending on the complexity of the food they're providing, or whether it's commercially packaged, or whether there is any food prepared on site, will require that a food permit also be designated. That's important to be able to understand that within some of these centers, they may have a kitchen that prepares food, and they'll just need to be licensed within the county as well. We get that as a common question in most times. For some of these centers that are residential, they may not need to be able to provide a permit for that food in that nature as well. Just depends on the facility type and what type of food processes or foods they are serving to these attendees.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's really good to note. So I'm still not seeing any questions. Now, of course, that doesn't mean people don't have questions, but if you have questions later or are reviewing the materials and something pops up as you're applying, you can always reach out to us and we will be able to address your questions at that time. So for now, what I'll go ahead and do, and feel free to send in those questions if they occur to you in the next few minutes while we're just wrapping up this presentation. I'll go ahead and share my screen again and just let you know what's going to happen after we end this webinar. So what we're going to do is send an email with links and that handout to all the participants who joined us today. And that will also include the slides that Samuel presented so that you can see those screenshots and review them in the future as you go through to complete these applications. So some of the links that we will include in there is a direct link to the Plus portal so that you can create an account if you haven't done that already, and you can log in and you can begin your applications or track and monitor your applications that you may have. Another link that we will share is our support site for Plus. This has a lot of really great resources, including some how-to guides, some links to videos, any FAQs, and it's not just for environmental health, it's for all of the modules and the whole Plus project. So we'll include that link so that you can access that information. Some of the information you'll find on that support site is a link to our YouTube channel where we have some targeted videos that answer a lot of specific questions we tend to get about Plus. So there is a video in there about how to create your account, what to do if you forgot your password, how to update information in your account to maybe add some new contacts or things like that. We also have other videos in there about paying fees and uploading attachments and all kinds of questions that we get pretty frequently. So that's a really great resource. You can subscribe and click the bell so that you get notifications anytime we add new videos as well. We also have a link to our recorded webinar. So today's webinar is being recorded and will be posted to this link here. And we also have recordings from all previous webinar Wednesdays that you can access anytime. In the email, we will also include links to register for our upcoming sessions. So we have a session coming up in 2 weeks because of the holiday. We're not presenting anything over the July 4th week. But after that, we'll be presenting with building, talking about DPOR and BPOL. We get a lot of questions about that. And the Office of the Fire Marshal will be presenting the following week about inspection, testing, and maintenance. We also have some sessions coming up that are more general about using Plus. So all of our upcoming sessions, I believe, through August are posted on our support site right now. So that is everything that we have. Samuel, I still don't see any questions come in. So what I did want to let all the participants know is that when you close the session today, you'll get a really brief survey. It's just 3 questions. If you could answer that, that would be wonderful. And there is also a space for free form questions. So if you do think of any questions, you can send them there. If you want to see different topics in the future, you can put those suggestions in there as well. We actually do get a lot of our topics from this survey. So we will monitor that and respond to any questions that you may post there. So thank you all so much for joining us today. And Samuel, thank you so much for your time. Did you have any last closing statements before we shut this down?
Yes. Um, for anyone that has any additional feedback, we're always happy to be able to receive it and use it as constructive feedback to help improve our processes as well. We always welcome any kind of comments from our attendees to be able to help make sure that we're delivering the best kind of customer service possible. And I do want to thank all the attendees for joining us today. And thank you, Rachel, for allowing me to have the opportunity to be able to be a part of this webinar.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much again for your time and thank you everyone for joining us. And like Samuel said, please respond to the survey, give us your feedback. We definitely do these sessions for our customers, so we want to make sure that we are bringing you the information that is relevant and meaningful to you. So thank you all so much again for taking your time out of your day to join us. This recording will be posted later and we will send an email before the close of business today with all of those links and additional information, including the slides. So thank you all. We hope you have a wonderful day and we look forward to seeing you in a future session. Bye, everyone.